Welcome everybody to Ascend Financial Wellness's module on loans and debt reduction. Again, my name is Brian Foltis, and I am the owner and founder of Ascend Financial Wellness, as well as an associate professor of finance at Butler University in Indianapolis, Indiana. Excited to have you, and looking forward to getting into trying to assist you with reducing your debt, getting out of debt forever and not looking back. So here's what we need to do here. First, determine our purpose, and then we're going to come up with our plan. After that, we need to come up with our repayment strategy, build out our prioritization, and then try to execute this to the best of our ability in order to get us out of debt as quickly as possible. And then number three is as we're looking at this, moving forward, choosing good loans over bad loans, looking at debt consolidation, that is going to round out our module today. So as we start out here, the journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. This getting out of debt might seem so far-fetched to you and so far away, and maybe it is far away from you, but we've got to start somewhere. And that first step starts today as we get into this. And you'll never win if you never begin. And so we just need to get that motivation of starting to get out of debt. I know for myself, this was me when I was 27 years old, and I'll never forget that moment where I was about $30,000 in debt, and I had that moment and says, I am going to get out of debt as quickly as possible, and I don't want to ever look back because I don't want to ever feel like I feel right now. That was my enough is enough moment. And so if you are there, let's go together on getting this debt out of your life. And so as we're doing this, I want you to get fired up. I want you to feel this. And so take a moment to determine your why for getting out of debt. Why would you do this? Is it for yourself? Is it for your family, for your kids, to change the direction of your life? I am bound and determined to do whatever it takes to get out of debt because of, use that answer to fill in the blank. We're going to do whatever it takes to get out of debt because of your why. And because of that, we are going to aggressively eliminate debt. Debt is something you can't just eliminate by ignoring it and saying, it'll happen on its own. I'll automatically just, work its way down and get out of debt. It doesn't work that way. So we have to be very aggressive and very intentional. And when I say aggressive, we also have to be careful. We can't beat ourselves up when we fall and if we have a setback. We can't beat ourselves up. We get ourselves back up, we dust ourselves off, and we get back on that path. Okay, so that being said, every dollar in our budget that is left over is going to go off to pay off that debt. What you're going to notice here is once that debt peels off, you're going to have a lot of dollars at the end of every month, and you're going to start building your wealth with that. All right, so before we get started, the program, there's two things that we need to do. Build an emergency fund, and the first debt eliminator emergency fund should be between $500 and $1,000. And again, this protects us from any future credit card debts that we would have, or the possibility of going to a payday loan place when something happens, such as car repair, dryer breaks, medical expense. How did I come up with those examples? Just because this last month, within literally 8 days of each other, I had all of these expenses. And that pod, by the way, squirted into my eye. I had to go to the emergency room at 10 o'clock at night because of that. So thank goodness I can see. That's life. That's an emergency, my friends. And so these things pop up and we want to have a small emergency fund to shield us from life happening. After that, we're still going to try to contribute to any employer-matched retirement contributions. So if your employer is matching 50 to 100% of any of your retirement contributions, we should do that no matter how much debt we have, unless you have payday loans. So if you have a payday loan, we've got to get those off the books before we do any contributions to retirement. After that, we're going to try to contribute to up to how much the employer matches, and then any additional money goes into taking on debt. Once the debt is gone, that's when we beef up the retirement contributions between 10 and 15% of your income. All right, so once these two things are taking place, now we go to aggressively eliminating the debt. Once the debt is gone, we move over to the wealth building program. But right now, we need to just get into the trenches and come up with our credit card and loan information. We need to start capturing this. So for some of us, this is a painful process, but it is essential for healing and for elimination to get this all on paper. So our paper in this case is going to be our budgeting worksheet, or the Ascend Financial Wellness Program worksheet. And you're going to see here on the Debt Eliminator tab, we're going to list all credit card debt on the top section. So I used a simple example here. We have two credit cards. One is American Express and the other one is Capital One. Minimum payments, we want you to highlight. We also want you to try to find your annual percentage rate, how much interest you are paying on each credit card, and then your outstanding balance on this credit card as well. And you can leave all the other information be. You can leave that alone. Okay, so what we're going to do is just write them all out. If you can, try to get them in order from smallest to largest, which is something we're going to talk about here in just a moment. Yeah, there it is. Order credit cards by smallest balance to highest. Okay, on the other side, we're going to also do the same thing for any consumer loans that we have. This is car loans, student loans, medical loans, and that's where we're going to put these in the debt eliminator. So I have a student loan here of $8,000 and a car loan of $10,000, and you can see the minimum payments for each of those and the interest being paid. Also, make sure you order those from lowest balance to highest. All right. So once we get this information into the Debt Eliminator tab, we're going to prioritize how we're going to eliminate this. Again, any extra money is going to go towards our highest priority. So the top priority for credit card debt is going to be smallest balance to the largest balance. And then once credit card debt is eliminated, we go down to the consumer loans and follow the same process, smallest balance to largest balance. Now, the exception to this is if we have a real large outlier. If you're paying 90% on a particular loan, let's make that the priority. So we can use some sensibility here when we're prioritizing our loans. In general, we want smallest to largest if they're all more or less the same interest rates, because after all, we're just getting them out of our lives as quickly as possible. But if we do have some major high interest rate loans, we need to prioritize those, just move them up the line, just make them higher in the Debt Eliminator tab. We're going to apply all extra money to our debts. So here's what it would look like for this example that we've been using. Previously, we said both of those credit cards that we had minimum payments of $30 and $50. So those combined are going to be an $80 minimum payment. The student loan has a minimum payment of $110, and the car loan has a minimum payment of $200. We put that all into our expenses and our budget, and we see we have $425 left over at the end of every month according to the budget. So how we apply all this extra money to our debts is like this. We're going to basically balance our budget to get our overall profit down to zero, and that $425 moves over to tackling credit card debt. So you can see 80 plus 425 equals $505. So what ends up happening here is the program will automatically update that extra payment to your American Express card because we're going to tackle that first smallest balance first. So what you would end up doing then, when you write out your credit card payment, you are going to pay out $455. So 30 plus 425 to American Express, and then you make your minimum payment to Capital One for $50, all equaling that $505. And then what's going to happen is after so many months, if you're putting away $500, you're going to get that out of your life in how many months? I don't know. 2, 5, 6 months. You get 6 months, have all that credit card eliminated. And now here's what happens. Once you eliminate your credit card debt, you continue to execute this. Credit card debt is gone. Now look what happens to your profit. Those monthly payments that you were making now is a profit. So it was $425, now it's $505. And we're going to apply that $505 to the next in line, which is the student loan. So you're paying a $110 minimum payment on your student loan, and now you're going to add that $505 to your student loan, and you'll get $615 a month paid on that student loan. So you can see that $615 is paid to your student loan. You continue to pay minimum on that car payment until that's gone. And so if I'm making at least $500 extra payment on that student loan, that's gone in, 16 months. And then the note is gone in, I don't know how much longer, 20 months. And so what we're going to do is we're going to try to just use this process, and we're going to really work on trying to get this overall profit as high as possible. So again, the only two ways we can do that are increasing your income and decreasing your expenses. There's not anything more complicated than that, but that's how we'll do it. That's how we'll increase the profit, because the higher this number is, the more aggressively we can bring down that debt. Now here's the beautiful part. Once the debt is out of your life for good, you'll have an emergency fund. Now you have no debt payments. Look at your overall monthly profit. You suddenly have $815 of money left at the end of every month, which is wonderful because that can now go towards building wealth and building your 3 to 6 month emergency fund, adding to your contributions for retirement. All this fun stuff that you've been wanting to do, you can now do it. And it's not like you even have to suffer anymore or cut back on anything. It's there for you because your debt is gone. That is the most beautiful part. You suddenly have extra money once those debts are gone. Sounds good, right? Overcoming challenges while paying off debt. Challenges happen. I know this because when I was working on getting out of debt, setbacks happen. Be ready for them. I put up AMCO, and it still makes me shudder a little bit because when I finally got out of debt, it was the very day and I finally was building my emergency fund. My transmission went out. And I had worked so hard over I got out of debt, and it took me about 15 months to get rid of about $30,000 worth of debt. And as soon as I did, I paid $1,976 for a new transmission, and it just killed me. But I had a choice to make. Do I just take on credit card debt, fall back into that cycle, or do I just tough it out, work that off for an extra couple of months, and move forward? That was a very pivotal point, and I'll never forget that. But man, did that setback hurt. You have to choose. Am I going to feel sorry for myself, or am I going to get tough and I'm going to change the course of my financial life? And I can tell you right now, as I'm older and 40 right now, that was the best decision I've ever made. Making that decision to get out of debt and not looking back. It's not whether you get knocked down, but whether you get back up. And so again, we are going to go through this together. You are not on your own. We are going to celebrate. We're going to overcome setbacks together. This is something that we don't need to do alone. We're here to coach you. We're here to help you, support you, whatever it takes to improve your financial wellness. That's what we are here for. So next, understanding good and bad loans. So as we're deciphering here, okay, we're not going back into these bad loans. Let's just get this all out here. I don't think this is anything new for anybody, but my God, these payday loans, get out and don't ever go back to those. If that's you, please come talk to me. Let's devise a strategy to not have to go do that ever again and to get out of those loans. Credit card loans, obviously we know that. Here's the thing. Once you're out of debt, I use credit cards all the time, and I just pay them off every month. And so I'm not saying don't use a credit card, but if you're using credit cards for debt and paying minimum or not paying the whole amount, that's the trap. And so we got to be extra sure we're going to be okay before we ever use credit cards. But if we're using that for loans, that's a bad idea. Same thing with store credit. Well, you get 10% or 5% at Target. No. If it was truly a good deal, they wouldn't offer it. They wouldn't be pushing it on you so much if it was truly a good deal for you, the consumer. So just keep that in mind. These are not good things to do. And then auto loans. This is something I'm quite passionate about. Unless you are a collector and your car will somehow appreciate in value, gain value over time, you're okay having a loan potentially. Everybody else, your car will depreciate in value every single day. As soon as you take it off the lot, it depreciates by 20 to 25%. Your loan is not a good investment. And so we need to get those out. And if that means driving a used, older vehicle, join the club. That's what truly wealthy people generally do. Good loans. Mortgage, house. This is all generally a good thing. House prices generally go up. They can go down. But in general, we still think that a house is a good loan. Education is also generally a good loan. We have to be careful on where we get the education and what we get our education in these days in order to create more income for us. That's ultimately why we would get education, to educate ourselves enough to earn a better living. And so some majors in 2021 are more profitable. You get a better return than others. And so I'll just leave it at that. I don't want to name any names or pick on any majors or anything like that, but we want to be careful on where you get your education before you start taking on those loans. Business ownership and investment loans, obviously, those are designed to build wealth and are good loans. A lot of times I get this question, is debt consolidation a good idea? And it's worth explaining here to you because it can be a little bit misleading. So follow this with me, if you will. You've got two loans. Individual has two loans, each worth $15,000. You have interest rates of 12 and 10%, and the lengths are between 2 and 3%. You see the total monthly payment between the two are $1,190 for these loans. Total interest paid over the next 2.5 years, more or less, will be $4,550. If you went to a debt consolidation company, here's what they'll do for you most likely. They consolidate your loan, $30,000. They'll give you a better interest rate, which is also very enticing, but they extend the length of the loan. The monthly payment is what makes this also very enticing. You have a total monthly payment of $541. But now keep in mind, you are paying that over 6 years. So the total interest paid that you would work to pay off this loan, total interest paid is nearly double what you would currently have. And so you're basically kicking your problem down the road, or you're extending this debt down the road and deferring your problems. And so for some of us who are in dire straits, this might be a necessity just to give yourself some breathing room. For others, it might just be, let's suck it up for the next 2 years, make the extra payments, and then realize we're going to have $1,200 at the end of the month to invest or save once these loans are gone. We'll take that path rather than extending this out, because the only person who's winning in the end with that consolidated loan is the credit card company or the consolidated loan company, who earns double the interest from you on the same amount of loans. And with that, we will conclude loans and debt reduction management. Would love to hear from you. If you have any questions, please let me know. And like I said before, we are going to do this together. We've got resources online through the website. I'll put it in the link below. And we'll do podcasts, and we'll try to get you looped into this process as much as possible, be available for you if you have questions. And we want to see you be financially successful in the end. So thank you very much, and have a great rest of the day. We'll see you.